And I am not putting any words in his mouth. He is saying all of this. And you guys are going to be shocked. No homo or whatever. She is gorgeous. And to me, it just shows you'd rather find the girl that's incredibly beautiful and try to change her.
Oh gosh, I'm really losing myself in this metaphor. You as a passenger have a responsibility to be sure you're going in the right direction because this is a mutual relationship, right? Maybe?
Can't relate to cancel culture, hookup culture, or victim culture?
Well, neither could we. We created this platform for those other girls. Girls like us who want to give a different perspective from a Christian and conservative worldview.
We talk about life, work, relationships, pop culture, and everything in between. So let's be those other girls that just don't talk about culture,
but change culture.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
I'm Freeman.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Welcome to our show. If this is your first time finding this podcast, we are a pop culture podcast, not like other pop culture podcasts. We're talking faith and femininity, and this is also your new favorite podcast. So go on ahead and follow, subscribe, like, tell all your friends. Go ahead and share it. This is going to be a different episode. Not a lot happened this week. So that's okay. We can still chit chat about other
because
things.
Because we'll be laid back today. We won't be like,
yes.
Oh my gosh, did you hear? No, I wanted to say no. Did you know that?
Yes.
Last week the Lizzo thing was like, well, I heard, and it was very, 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 very crazy.
Yes. Which funny story, everybody? It is it's become one of our most watched. Well, the clip is becoming one of our most watched episodes. On
really?
YouTube. Yeah, shockingly. I know. Well, I guess maybe not shockingly. Everyone was talking about Lizzo, and I'm sure people were curious what our opinion would be.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like people know our opinions on like the basics, and then they're like low-key like interested to hear we believe in aliens.
Yes. Yeah. Some people in the app were kind of surprised that we believe in aliens.
Yes. Okay. Some of our most like random things end up being the most controversial. Like
right,
the RPM thing.
Oh, right. I know that. I'll link it if you guys have not seen it yet. Freeman did an amazing article on RPMs, RPMs.
Pill alpha male.
Yes.
RPM.
Mm-hmm. And it was very spicy. A lot. When I shared it on my Facebook, got a lot of comments. I think it's well written, and every person she said was a red flag. I personally stand by. So yeah.
What were we talking about?
I was just about to say, we were talking about slow week. Oh, we can be chiller. This week. We can do a lot more chit-chatting, I guess. Actually, this could be a fun time to catch up. We have like 2 stories that I think are going to be fun. I think people are going to enjoy, but this could also just be a time of like catching up.
Well, really not the child sex ring. I don't think people are going to enjoy that.
No, that's not.
But I will enjoy hearing that justice is being done.
Yes. And then we have like a relationship thing, which everybody loves talking about relationships. So that's going to be interesting. And as I always do, I have tons of thoughts. So, okay, I'm trying to think. Oh, announcements. So we have merch. It's right here. My water. You are going to want to get this when you go back to school, back to work. You're going to want to get one of these. This is going to be really good. It's going to keep you hydrated. This can be your emotional support water bottle for your next year. It's available at thosearethegirls.com/merch. We also have a bunch of other stuff too, but this is probably my favorite. I carry this everywhere. And it lets people know. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, honestly, like the concept of an emotional support water bottle makes a lot of sense to me. Like in high school or in college, I had like a pro-life, like water bottle that had a bunch of stickers on it. And it felt like me and the water bottle against the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone has one. I really think Those Are the Girls one should be it.
Yeah.
Take it everywhere with you. She stays with you at all times. When you are trying to find other girls, she will be sort of a beacon when you are standing up for life in class and you finish your presentation, you're wearing your Esther Rose necklace available at shopthepinkrose.com, and you go sit back down, your emotional support water bottle will be right there with you to hydrate cheering you on. Mm-hmm. So get it.
Those in a way, this bottle will have me and Mallory inside it, cheering you on.
Yes. Actually, these people on here are us, and we will be there. You can hear it. You're up there. You're defending life. Everyone around you is watching.
On your water bottle,
you'll see the faces, and just know that we're going. Go, you got this.
Yeah.
Good job. Wow. Mm-hmm. You'll hear it and you'll feel it. And you'll feel how you were made for such a time as this with your Esther Rose necklace. ShopThePinkRose.com. So yeah. Okay, the next thing is we have a Patreon. We have a Patreon. Freeman does her free-for-alls. Freeman, do you know what your topic's going to be this week?
I do, Mallory. I do know my topic this week. We are going to be discussing IVF and embryo adoption. Embryo adoption is something that I thought I understood, and then I started doing research into it, and I realized there's a lot more to it. And basically, we should be thinking about this because this is the future of technology, and we should be pretty much making our decisions about whether or not we support it, like now, before it's too late, and it's like already integrated into society 100%.
This is very fascinating. I think everyone is going to want to hear this. So what you need to do is go to patreon.com/thosearethegirls. It'll also be linked in the description. Sign up so you can hear this conversation. I'm excited to hear what you've researched. And people talk about it a lot, about IVF. It is a hot topic now, especially in pro-life world, as we've discussed, taking on the life from a whole life, I guess, perspective. Mm-hmm. So we talked about so we talk about abortion, but we also talk about adoption, fertility, abstinence, chastity, all these things coming all together is kind of really what encompasses, being pro-life. So that's going to be very interesting. And I also review movies, TV shows, and books. And this week I reviewed Zoe 102. Not going to spoil it. It is on the show, oops, spoilers, which is a Other Girls media production. It is only available on Spotify and YouTube currently. Freeman is very much Team Apple. And it is, maybe if it gets more traction, I'll move it over to Apple as well. But right now, what? You really think it should be on
making
Apple?
A note right now to boo you when you said that in the post-production phase.
Okay, well, eventually it'll probably move over to Apple. And it's literally just me talking like this, telling the movie. I watch a lot of movie reviews, and these people are serious. They have a script, and then da-da-da-da, and they'll show clips. I want you to lower your expectations. It's literally me being me, talking about it, because I like to talk about movies. I love movies and TV shows, things like that. And I'm kind of a writer. And so I enjoy it. And I always want to talk about it. And then one day I was just like, well, why don't I just record myself talking about it and put it out there?
Why not?
Yeah.
That's why I love you, Mallory. I could never.
Oh, just record yourself and just go?
Yeah, I love that you're doing this, though. That is so cool.
Thank you.
And I like that it's aside from serious topics, it's we can be fun. Pro-life girls can be fun.
And it's so random.
Or is everything some sort of philosophical debate?
Yeah, no, literally. Some of the things I say aren't even it's not political at all. I do. So for example, if there's a nude scene or something like that, I'm probably not going to give it a 5 out of 5. Just because that's not me. I don't think that. But, and it's so unserious movies I've done so far. I did the, I'm Not Okay, which was such a dumb movie. And I also did the one, with the hearts, I think, she plays Evie in, Descendants. You guys know what I'm talking about. And she sings the, really sexy, sultry, Sweet Caroline rendition. I did that movie. It's just it's silly. What is the name of that movie? I'll send you the song because I think you might like it.
Okay.
Anyway, it's super unserious. You guys will like it. Once again, I want lower your expectations. I'm literally just telling you about the movie. It's me talking just like this. Sometimes I'm a bit, oh yeah, and another thing, it's not super serious. But that is also out now. And then you can look at I've only done 10 episodes of this so far. I'll try to do one every other week. And email me, let me know what you think the next movie I should do should be.
Have you done Sound of Freedom?
No, I need to see Sound of Freedom. You saw it. Tell us a little bit about it. I don't mind you spoiling it because I know his, like, I'm very familiar with his work. So you want to tell about it?
Okay, I'm not really sure if I'm ready to have a stance on it because I have seen it, but I haven't given thought to like the philosophy that it's problematic. I haven't really indulged that side of the aisle a little bit, so I'm not ready to make a statement on it. All I can say is that I saw it. It was a good film. I'm not endorsing it or not endorsing it right now, but I will, and I really want to learn why people are skeptical of it because from what I saw, I didn't notice anything problematic, but again, I want to do my research and I want to hear both sides of the debate.
Okay. I think, to be honest, I think part of it is just one of those things. And I mean, the right does it too. It's just kind of like, well, this is endorsed by this person, so it must be wrong, as opposed, I mean, look at what happened with Barbie. I think it's just that, but I don't know. I mean, it could, and I'm sure, I don't know how he positioned it, but I'm sure some of what happened in the movie is dramatized. And sometimes people don't like that if you're going to say it's a true story. But, like, it has to be dramatized. It's a movie. You know what I mean? Like, you don't expect position to be real.
I think the argument that, they sensationalized human trafficking, I don't have a problem with that because how else is it going to sell? Number one, if it's not sensationalized. And number two, what am I supposed to do? Think, okay, then it's fine. Like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do with that information other than accept it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that going to do? That's not going to change my opinion of the issue. That doesn't make me less sympathetic to those. And I don't even know why you would say it's not that. You know why? Like, what? You know what I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but like,
kind of. You lost me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Basically, so there are plenty of people saying that they like sensationalized human trafficking and that it's like over the top and it's way too dramatic. And my thoughts are, so what if it's too dramatic? I can't imagine that this is anything other than a dramatic experience for people.
Okay,
like,
now I'm tracking.
Why would you say it's too dramatic? That's like saying rape is too, like, they made rape too dramatic. See what I'm saying? It's like it's like the most dramatic thing of all time. Of course it's dramatic.
Right. No, you're making a good point. And I think that there's this small, I think there's a small faction of people who don't want people to make that big of a deal about human trafficking. Not necessarily because I'm friends with this guy on Facebook, and I really honestly should unfriend him. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you've seen him comment. Anything that he does not like and disagree with, he comments. Heck,
thank you for participating at least.
For engagement. He might even be listening to this podcast. He has been sharing about how Sound of Freedom is right-wing propaganda and it's this. And before this movie, though, I do remember a couple might have been like 2 or 3 years ago, he posted that human trafficking statistics are exaggerated, something like that. And I pushed back on that, and I was like, "Can you explain more?" And he really couldn't. So there's a small faction of people who want to think that it's not that big of a deal in the U.S. because they are very pro-sex work. That's something about him. He's very pro-sex work. So he thinks that he like posted stuff about how like this new anti-human trafficking thing, they want to call it human trafficking because they want to criminalize sex work. And I want to be like, yeah, okay. I mean, let's criminalize it. Like, what are we going to do? But that's not the whole point. There's still people, I think I don't think there's a single woman on earth who absolutely wants to be a prostitute. I don't believe that. I do think there are people who are doing it reluctantly versus people who were coerced in doing it. I think either way, they shouldn't be doing it. Whether you are, okay, I guess I'll do it, or, forced to do it. Because I can recognize there is a difference, but I don't think they should be doing it either way. And I do not believe that anyone actually, no girl writes down, what do you want to be when you grow up? No one girl says, a prostitute. That's not
or abortion worker.
Or abortion. Yeah, exactly. Nobody actually wants that. But anyway, that's a long, long story. Yeah, I definitely want to review Sound of Freedom eventually. I need to actually see it. But like I said, I'm very familiar with his work. So I don't feel I'm glad people who aren't familiar with it and who haven't done things in human trafficking for survivors. So I'm really glad they're getting the attention they need. It needs, especially because a side thing. This reminds me, very interesting timing. This podcast I'm listening to, it's called Believable, the Coco Bertham story. I sent it to you, right? Have I sent that to you?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. So this is about a girl who faked cancer. That's how she got caught. Like Scamanda, like I know a lot of you guys listen to. And she also faked being a human trafficking victim. And it's so interesting. And one of the things, I'm listening to them on another person's podcast, talking about their podcast. And one of the things that they were saying was how in this business, because they're journalists, in this business, you see things like this, you have to work on not being, not getting jaded. And like when people tell you something, so like if someone tells you that they are a victim of a survivor, I don't want to say victim, a survivor of human trafficking, you're automatically going to believe them because it's like, why would someone lie about that? And then B, like, I don't know, you just believe them. So it was just talking about how like, it's really, it's hard to not let yourself go into that. So they are hoping that their podcast doesn't negatively affect people in that way. It's very fascinating. So that's that. That's pretty much us catching up. Trying to think of anything else that you guys need to know. Any other announcements? Join the app. The app is fun. We talk and discuss the episodes. And you know what? While I'm here, if you guys know any good guests that we should have on a myriad of topics, let us know. They don't have to be Christian unless we're talking about like a strictly Christian topic. But if it's someone who identifies as another whatever or something, love to have them on to talk about their specific topic, and maybe we can even have a conversation about why they aren't a Christian. I guess that's it. You ready to get into the stories?
Let's get into it.
Okay. And I should have had it already pulled up.
Wait, Mallory, look.
I'm so sorry. What am I looking at?
Oh, I didn't know if you could see my face through the glass.
Oh. Do it again? Oh, yeah, you kind of can. Funny. I was like, is something in the cup? What am I missing?
Sorry for those of you that are listening.
Yeah, you really miss out when you just listen. When you watch, you can also watch on Spotify. If you have Spotify, we're Team Spotify here.
Excuse.
Boo.
Another boo at 1816.
We
there
can't
it is.
boo Spotify by podcasters too much because they do give us.
I'm not booing Spotify. I'm booing you being biased.
Anyway,
we can be biased on many things. That is not one of them.
But yeah, you'll enjoy this production more if you're watching. Last week I was very animated. You really missed out. Okay. This is brought to you. Okay, it says Apple, but when I click it, it's saying CNN. But I'll link it either way. Okay, it says dozens arrested over alleged child sex abuse following murder of 2 FBI agents. A total of 98 people have been arrested in connection with the child sex abuse. And trigger warning. So sorry, everybody. Trigger warning. If you do not want to hear this, you want to hear something kind of lighter, go ahead and fast forward. The rest of the stories are very light. And 13 children rescued from U.S. and Australian authorities said Tuesday, more than 2 years after 2 FBI agents were killed investigating an alleged international pedophile ring. In a news conference Tuesday, the FBI and Australian Federal Police said 79 arrests, 65 indictments, and 43 convictions in the U.S. were carried out as a result of a joint operation, while 19 men were arrested in Australia. 2 FBI agents investigated the alleged ring were shot dead in 2021 while executing a search warrant for a computer programmer suspected of possession of child abuse material, CNN previously reported. The alleged child abuse ring was a peer-to-peer network with some offenders committing offenses for over 10 years, said the Australian Federal Police Commander Helen Schneider. Some of the children were known to the men who were arrested, Schneider added, but refused to comment further. The Australian police investigation began in 2022 when the FBI passed on details on Australian members of the peer-to-peer network alleging shared child abuse material on the dark web. The operation was highly complex. The complexity and the anonymity of these platforms means that no agency or country can fight these threats. Okay.
Can fight these threats alone.
Oh, can fight these threats alone. That's a very important part. They can fight the threats, but they do not. They should not work alone. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Sorry. You can go first.
Well, I know that it's really hard to see the light in this, but it's important that when we do pray for things and then we see advancements made, even if they bring to light a lot of darkness, it's important that we still thank God for answering those prayers. If you are like me and you've been praying for an end to human trafficking, you've been praying for justice to be served, while it's tough, it's important that we remember to thank God for this kind of thing. Not thanking God for the abuse happening, but thanking God that
For
justice is being served.
Yeah.
And this makes me think a lot about AI and the role that AI can possibly play in helping identify, and I think you and I have talked about this, in helping identify and maybe even prosecute those that are participating in, underage pornography. So I really hope that there's a way we can shield all human eyes, or as many as possible, from having to watch this and, make notes of it and take notes and depict it. Maybe there's a way that AI can actually be of help in this. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, kind of to piggyback off of that, yeah, there is someone in every police department that has to sit and watch this, which is terrible to think about. I mean, I can't imagine. I was actually listening to a podcast where someone was talking about it, and they were like joking about it, and like it's not really funny. Like, it is sad. It's very depraved. Probably need a lot of emotional help.
Yeah, Mallory, I mean, somebody has to, though. That's why I'm saying, can AI do this,
That's a good point. I think this would, I never want to encourage AI, but I think this could be one use that they could have, is something like that. I also think it's really important, an important note that they mentioned that some of the people they arrested knew some of the children in the child sexual abuse materials.
Yes. Does that mean they were parents or?
Well, statistically, your people are trafficked by people that they know, friends and family. I just I like to reiterate this because I think that there's a lot of propaganda. And for example, with the Carly thing, everybody's, oh my goodness, she was kidnapped, she's going to be human trafficked. And that is not incorrect. That could happen. But reality, statistically, is you're more likely to be trafficked by, for example, your brother-in-law. Your children are more likely to be trafficked by their cousin. So that's just a reminder, not to, scare anyone, but that's just a reminder that, be present with your children. And then, watch out for other people's kids too. If your kid is friends with someone at school and you notice that that's someone, you call their home and it's always them who answers, the mom's not very present. Maybe you can be a good Christian, godly light for that child, invite them to stay over for dinner, watch out for them, pay attention to things when you notice that maybe that child all of a sudden has a phone that they've never had before, tiny things like that, because once again, it's statistically someone that you know. The chances of being abducted and human trafficked by someone you don't know are very rare. It happens. So obviously be alert, be conscious of your surroundings, be aware, but you are more likely by someone who you know. So all that to say, I just think that's really important. I really want to kind of highlight that when it comes to what can we do for prevention. We praise God once again for finding, helping the police officers find these men, arrest them. I mean, life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Literally. Why do I have a weird feeling these people are going to get like 5 years?
Yeah, because our justice system's messed up. I'm not very familiar with Australian justice system, so I'm curious comparing the Australian sentences to the U.S. sentences. I'm curious how that's going to go. But yeah, thanking God that they were arrested. And something similar actually happened in Charlotte. I want to say in 2020. There was a huge ring
oh my gosh,
that was busted in Charlotte. And we had the director, she's the director, the CEO of A Safe Place. I'll link it. She was on the podcast. She kind of talked about some of the things. So it was human trafficking and pornography. So with them, there were some kids that were like actually physically there. And they had to find, she talked a little bit about like how when these things happen, like where do the kids go? When it's like an actual human involved, or for lack of a better word, a 3D human as opposed to a 2D on the screen, which is just as bad. Which actually, let me play this. I'm going to play you guys a video. This is Dennis Prager. And I am not putting any words in his mouth. He is saying all of this. And you guys are going to be shocked. Dennis Prager from PragerU. Give me one.
Which I don't fully trust. Just want to put that on the record.
Oh, okay. This is what Dennis Prager is saying.
No, I would use evil only with behavior.
Would you use the word evil of animated child pornography? Because I certainly would.
No, I would use evil only with behavior. That's where we might differ, forgetting the sex issue. You can't be evil. You didn't do evil if you thought evil. You did
if
evil
I'm
if
masturbating to animated pictures of pornography, I'm not doing something evil.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think that's despicable. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, of course. Would you use the word evil?
Okay, so explain to me what I just heard.
So Dennis Prager is being interviewed by this guy, and Dennis Prager is very much I don't know how to describe him, but he is explaining how he does not think that animated child sexual abuse material is wrong. He thinks that it's only evil if the act is actually completed. So he thinks that so the guy, his exact words are, if I'm masturbating to pictures of animated child pornography, I'm not doing something evil, ? And Dennis Prager from PragerU says that's correct.
Oh. Okay, so do I need to explain why I don't trust?
He also is the one, I want to say, he said women should be thanking their husbands when they do not cheat.
When men don't cheat.
When men do not cheat. Of course. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. When men do not cheat, women should be thanking their husbands. So.
And I should be thanking my landlord for providing a roof, even though I pay her.
Yeah. So there's that. Why did I bring that up? I think because I was just thinking about
us.
Yeah, sorry. I think I brought that up just because we were talking about that topic and about how either way, 2D versus 3D, animated versus live, it's all evil and wrong. And I think that and I think this is a good example of, Dennis Prager's not a Christian, and I'll just leave it at that. He's not a Christian. You can look up his religious background. And
but Christians do this kind of thing all the time. Like this is not something that Christians are immune to, having sexual desires.
True. But my point was, the reason. My point is, with Christianity, we have the set standard of rules. We have a set standard of living, and so do other religions. But talking about Christianity, we have a set standard of rules and religions, and this is why it's really important to follow when you read the Bible, to take what that says seriously and not try to find little I forgot how someone worded it, but like exceptions. The goal isn't how close can I get to the line. That should not be your goal. Your goal should be, how do I glorify God in this? And
it's not just saying no to Satan, it's saying yes to the Lord.
Yes, exactly. And I think that when you don't have that, and I would argue, just because someone says they're a Christian doesn't mean they're a Christian. So
of course,
I wouldn't say that someone who does that, there's no fruit. So I wouldn't say that they're a Christian. I wouldn't say that they're following Christ at all. So that's why it's just really important to not just try to walk up to that line.
I mean, I think in order to be a Christian, you have to believe in Jesus being the Son of God, and I think you have to believe in the Trinity. Is that correct? Like, what's the textbook definition?
Yes. So, so in the Bible, to be saved, to be a Christian, you have to believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead and receive and confess Him as your Savior and Lord. That's Romans 10:9 and 10. So, and then there's different things that you believe. Yes, girly.
Well done. Look, she knows her stuff.
And there's different things that you believe to qualify as a Christian. One of them, you're right, is the Trinity. And so you have to believe that Jesus is God and the Son of God. Go ahead.
Okay, well, my point is that if you textbook definition, if you follow that textbook definition, you are a Christian. You can be a murderer and be a Christian. You can be, unfortunately, you can have all kinds of sin in your heart and still be a Christian. Does not mean I can say for sure you're going to heaven. Doesn't mean I can say for sure you're going to hell. But I just want to go back to the original conversation of, the news article. I kind of feel like this is the tip of the iceberg as far as this ring. See what I'm saying? Because it's if there's so much that we just uncovered, I have to imagine there's going to be more. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think now is the time of justice. And I think I said this when they found, the killer of Faith Hedgepath, the girl from Chapel Hill. Now is the season of justice. I think that technology has improved so much, and we have DNA evidence everywhere. All someone has to do when it comes to DNA, you just have to have a distant relative do one of those Ancestry.com things. Bam, they got you. So, and like you mentioned, AI, maybe finding people, searching things. They have technology to, this image was
figure out where it was uploaded, where it was recorded, who uploaded it, from what computer.
Though it feels bleak in so many other areas, I think now is the age of justice. We're going to be seeing more uncovered, like these pedophile rings. We're going to be seeing more bodies identified of John and Jane Does that have been murdered. We're going to be seeing more serial killers found. Now is the age of justice. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the families. I'm excited for people who have been sitting at home waiting, or not even just sitting at home, who've been going out waiting. I'm happy that they were able to find these pictures and things like that of the children so that their parents can have a little bit more peace about that. So this is good. These are all good things. We are moving upward and onward. Once again, this is the season of justice. I
hope you're right.
I think so. I think that with technology, all this technology increasing, we are going to see way more of this. I mean, that girl, well, I guess it's a little different. Alicia Navarro that just was found. But I mean, they found the Gilgo Beach murderer. They identified one of the bodies that has been, they haven't known who she was since I think she was murdered in the 90s. So this is good. This is good things. They found this ring. Yeah. We're upward and onward. Okay, next story. All right, if you were tired of that, we're now going to go to something much lighter. The rest of the episode is going to be much lighter. Possibly.
You know us.
It could get deep. I could start crying. Who knows? So the next one is from Evie Magazine. Keke Palmer doesn't want to set unrealistic body standards. It is, quote, "It is my career to look good." Keke Palmer reveals that she doesn't want to set unrealistic body standards on Baby It's Keke Palmer. It's her podcast, and though she did interview Kamala Harris and kind of nodded her head to some crazy things, Keke Palmer is hilarious. She is so funny. So the article goes, we love it when celebrities are honest. It took the Jenners and Kardashians a while to admit they got work done when they have a major influence in the beauty space. Luckily, other stars have gone against the grain, and with some even admitting that their bodies aren't realistic thanks to their celebrity privileges. This week, Keke Palmer went candid on her podcast, Baby, This is Keke Palmer, to discuss her influence on beauty standards. While speaking with her trainer, Corey Kellett, the 29-year-old revealed her inspo for staying fit. Quote, "It is my job to stay fit. Let's not get crazy. I don't want people thinking that I'm setting unrealistic standards. I can afford a trainer, meal prep, and a lot of things," end quote. "It is expensive, but I'm investing in my career because it is my career to look good. Not even is it my career to look good, it is my career choice to have the kind of career that I want to have. I specifically want to be in action. I specifically want to do certain things that require me to be fit, you know? And I was always putting so much pressure on myself, and I feel like with Nope, I got a great opportunity to do some action stuff, and I definitely had already obtained a pretty fit body. But my frame has always been quite small. So it's interesting after the baby to see all the extra stuff I have to work with and how much my fear of having extra weight actually becomes a strength as it pertains to my weight training and working out. And it gave me so much more to work with and mold with." End quote. The actress explained that it's a personal choice to keep up with her routine and that it's not her intention to pressure women or Hollywood to live up to her standards. I love that. I love her.
Go ahead.
I think that's great. I think it's great that she admits that. And that's the reality of it, you know, to be able to maintain a good body without being blessed with a nice metabolism. You have to have money and you have to work hard. Some people's metabolisms are absolute trash and they just don't have the resources to maintain a super, super fit body. Does that mean, you know, you become obese? You guys know I do not support that. Very against the whole body positivity thing. But I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. And I like that as a celebrity, she's saying that, because I do think that, especially younger people, they really, really want to look like her. And I think just hearing that, hey, it's because of X, Y, and Z. Find something, you know, she all but said, find something in your tax bracket. So yeah, I like that she said that. I like that she spoke up. You know, the Jenners and Kardashians took them 5 ever to admit they had anything done.
I know.
Which it was
they're still really weird about it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's this is going to be a little controversial. The reality is you're getting things done because you don't like them because it makes you feel bad about yourself. And if you're trying to have an image that you always feel good about yourself, you can't get anything done. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. Like, and
wait, so you're saying in order to be successful and feel good about it, you probably should just do things organically?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just stop caring. Like, that's how I feel about, like, Botox. Like, I have no interest in that because I just literally do not care.
I mean, that's just like, I remember feeling like, why would a 50 or 60-year-old woman do it? And now I'm like,
girly, there's people like 18 doing it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm still like catching up with like why 50-year-old women feel the need to do it. Much less like, I mean,
remember I told someone.
Is it just like you want to spend money? Really?
Right. And I remember I told someone that I wasn't interested, and they were like, wait till you get older. And I was like, no, I don't think I'll be interested.
I'm waiting.
Right. Like, I wouldn't be interested then either, thanks, though. Like, I just don't have an interest in it. And it's because, like, I just don't care. Now, if we were talking about weight loss surgery, oh, yeah. I mean, I'd give an arm and a leg. I'd give to look like Keke Palmer or honestly any skinny person, I would give my leg for that. So that's a completely different story. Because, back to what I said, it's an insecurity. You're only doing the Botox thing and the lip thing because of an insecurity.
Yeah.
If you stop caring about it, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. But I think, I don't think that the Kardashians, like, you can't admit that you're insecure if you're like a Kardashian. Like, you can't admit that. I mean, we can all see it. But you can't, if you're supposed to have this aura of like, yeah, I'm great and I've always been great and I love who I am and I'm just so amazing. You can't admit that, like, you're very insecure about your lips because I think all of them have had their lips done. You can admit that.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Like, I think it's amazing that she's taking organic routes to pursue her, goals. Something that I did notice and I really, really kind of like latched onto was she said, it's interesting after the baby to see all the extra stuff I have to work with and how much my fear of gaining weight actually became a strength. And I know for me, I do really worry. For some reason, I think it's because like the women in my family always talk about like how fat they are. And I'm just like, you're not. And like, this is toxic, like I can remember the women in my family always talking about like, I gained 4 pounds, and being like, oh my gosh, you pig, like that kind of thing. And so like subconsciously I've always worried about like, pregnancy weight, like what am I going to do? Because I don't know what it is, but I don't gain weight. I don't lose weight. Like I have been at a steady, like anywhere between 130 to 135 for like 5 years.
It's God saying, I love you more than anyone else. That's what it is. Anyway, keep going.
But like there are moments when I'm like, no, I would like to see. I just would like to see if I can like.
Yeah.
There are times when I would like to
maybe
to lose a little bit just to see if I can,
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll like get into like some workout health kick for like a few months. Nothing.
Wow.
My point is that scares me for the day that I do gain weight. And inevitably, I don't have any skills to lose it. I don't feel like capable of losing anything.
So that is interesting what you're saying. I think that is a huge problem that people don't realize. There's people who have been fat their whole lives. They've done the whole diet thing, and there's people who gain weight because of pregnancy. And they've never had to create a healthy lifestyle, create healthy diet. So they don't know how to do that. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's really good to start working on that now when you can. Everybody's life's different. But I think that's a really good time to just start building those habits. I think that your body's going to completely change when you do get pregnant. And I think that it is going to be an emotional, like, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be like the things that your body did before are just never going to be the same. And that can be a good thing, a bad thing, an okay thing. And I think you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you work on good habits now, you'll figure it out.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, I love that she said it gave her something to work with, and it helped her, like, overcome that fear of inevitably gaining baby weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was, like, really motivating to me because I am going to have to, like, dive into the unknown in that area. And to hear that she did it too and was able to recover and was able to feel good about it. And if anything, it made her stronger. It made her more empowered, and it gave her control. And I mean control in, like, a godly way, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's really, really motivating. So
Yeah.
that's what I took away from it.
And that's another good point too. I think it is motivating that obviously we don't have the same resources that she has, but like you said, she was able to do it. She was able to take control, and she was able to get it done. And not to bring Lizzo back up, but this kind of just reminds me when she was saying it's my job, it just kind of reminded me of, I'll never forget, on Twitter, someone was like going hard on Lizzo about being fat. And that's wrong. You know, I don't support that at all.
Of course.
But it was all these celebrities, Cardi B, Jennifer, J-Lo, maybe Keke Palmer, but all these celebrities that are like the perfect body size, that work out every day, encouraging her, saying, and she was beautiful, and like, it didn't feel genuine to me because it's like, the thing is, girlies, like, you work every day so you don't look like her, like, purposely, like, and I think, I don't know, and this could just be my brain, because everything, you know, how everybody's different, but that was kind of like where my brain went, like, she's kind of saying the quiet part out loud. The reality is, like, nobody wants to look like that, like, that's just how, some people have to, because that's just how their body is made, but nobody really wants to. Everybody works hard so they don't. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That's what I thought of when she said that.
I see what you're saying. You're saying, like, there's an underlying we can all agree, you know, that this is something to avoid.
Right.
Not at all costs, but for a lot of people it is at all costs. For her, it's not necessarily at all costs, but there's an underlying, like, truth, like a foundation that we agree on that unfortunately isn't present in other conversations about weight.
Right. And which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because, like, the reality is nobody really wants to be obese. Like, I've said this before and I'll say it again, like, nobody, if someone is 50 plus overweight, they did not get there because they wanted to. But there's just like this, it was just kind of, it felt very like fake. They could have just said, hey, hold your head up, and then let it go. It was just some of the things that they were saying. I was like, okay, now you're going too hard because this is fake. Because, like, you wouldn't want to look like her. Like, you work hard to not look like her. It just felt kind of fake. And one great thing about Keke Palmer, she was honest and real about it. I'm doing this for my career. I want to look good. And I am. And I'm doing it a nice, healthy, she has a trainer. I think it's healthy, good, clean way. I hope she doesn't get anything done. I mean, she's in Hollywood, so she might, but I think it'd be great if she didn't. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next story. We said this will be short. Okay, let's move on to the next story really quick. It's a video, that I'm excited. So, you guys see here. From the Clock app.
The best dating advice I've ever received, believe it or not, was from my mom, which goes as follows. Men are like cabs. You can't get into the cab if the light isn't on. So what does this mean? Cabs have a light that go on when they're available, right? So when you can get into them. Same thing goes for guys. What happens if you get into a cab and their light's not on? You're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your money. You're going to be driving around in circles, and you're not going to get anywhere. What this really means that if you meet a guy and he's just not ready, that's it. He's just not ready. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Kate Upton or you're Hailey Bieber. Does not matter. If you meet a guy and his light's not on, buck stops there. It's nothing personal. I also think this explains a lot of the time where we see guys ending up with girls we just never would have seen them with. And it's simply because their light was on and she was the first one that walked through the door. It's honestly just another way of saying timing is everything. Also, shout out to Beth. That's my mom. She's a born and bred New Yorker. Follow me for more tips, or we can ask Beth. The best dating advice I've ever received, believe it or not, was from my mom, which goes as follows.
But what if a guy's light is on and then you're still driving around circles wasting your money and not getting anywhere?
I'm so sorry. Can you explain what you mean by that analogy? I think that's a good one.
Like if a guy said, like this has happened to me, a guy says he's serious, you know, he likes me like in high school, you know, whatever.
Oh, you're so young. Go ahead.
And you realize like, okay, after a certain amount of time, you realize they're not serious. They're I'm thinking of a lot of words right now.
Well, okay, so in my head, I would say his light really wasn't on. I would say
yeah, exactly. But what if he's presenting that his light is on? Because I think that's the real conversation. It's not like guys are saying, you know, no, I'm not ready, and then girls are like, okay, I won't date. It's more like guys are saying, sure, and then they're like,
right,
unsure of if the light's really on or not.
Well, I think that is, so I'm thinking of, you know, I was talking to this guy in college and silly me, you know, we were holding hands, kissing, and I thought we were in a relationship. Silly me. And, you know, we're texting every day and all these things. And in my head, the light was on, but I think that's figuring out the light was off. But I guess, like, when I really look back, was his light really, I mean, clearly his light wasn't on. This is an interesting way to flip it, because in my head, I'm thinking about the aspect of, there's another theory, I forgot what it's called, but it's like, guys marry the girl in front of them. So whenever they're ready, like, you could be the person for that person, but if they're not ready, and you don't wait around, they will not marry you. They'll marry the next guy. So the guy will marry the girl that is the first girl that they date when they're ready.
Okay.
So that's the angle I took it. But you're taking it from the angle of, how do we deal when the guy's lights are, when we think his lights are on, but it's not. I mean, the only thing I can say is, like, get out of it.
He says his light's on.
Yeah. But I don't, and as I've gotten...
Okay, here's what you do. Okay, here's the answer to my question.
Okay.
As a passenger in the car, if you're noticing you're going in circles, even though the light's on, or the driver thinks he's taking you to your destiny. Oh gosh, I'm really losing myself in this metaphor. You, as a passenger, have a responsibility to be sure you're going in the right direction, because this is a mutual relationship, right? Maybe?
Yes. In my head, though, I'm thinking, I mean, you know what? I guess that's reality. Reality is, you're going to get into some cabs whose lights are on, but you're
starting to notice you're going in circles.
You're going in circles. He's not getting you to the destination. Yeah, I guess that's reality. And
okay,
I mean,
the problem I have
it.
with this metaphor is that it implies that the man is in control. And I don't mean that in like a feministy way, but it's not like a mutual partnership where it's like you're both getting yourselves to the destination. Am I thinking way too much into this?
No, I think it just kind of goes to like how you view relationships. And I think we differ on that. I do think the guy is in control. I wish it was a mutual thing, but I do think the guy is in control, because at the end of the day, like, the woman, I saw a tweet that perfectly explained it. At the end of the day, the woman, like, the man is doing the actions, the woman is kind of wow, and that's kind of, anyway, that can, like, translate to a lot of things, but that's how it is in
but, like, he makes the first move. He makes the second move.
He proposes. You know? You know,
I get that.
You're the reciprocator. So I do think, and the reality is, outside of these little red pill circles that some of you are in, women want to be married. Women want to settle down. Men are the ones who are kind of taking their time. They don't want to for various reasons. They're looking for a person who looks like X, Y, and Z.
Okay, that is the red pill circle, right? Or are you talking about something else?
No, they would say that the red pill circle would say women are whores and they don't ever want to be married, and that's what red pill people say. I'm saying that it's the men who are not trying to settle down. The men are, because like Tate, they, want to have multiple wives and like, why should I get married? It's the worst thing that a man can do. She'll take all your money. Like, that's the reality. It's not women, oh, no, I'm just not going to marry. I'm going to sleep with 15,000 people. The average woman sleeps with 100 men before she's 30. Like, that's not real. I'm sorry. That's just not real. That's not true. I mean, statistically, men, if you actually look into it, men sleep with more women than women sleep with men. So let's be honest about that. And
how does that add up?
I think in my head, they're just sleeping around more, and there's more men than women in the world, correct? I thought
Seems to me like men probably overestimate, women probably underestimate.
That's fair, too. That could also happen.
Okay, anyways. What were we saying? The point is...
The cab. So, okay.
Cab.
So, let's talk about my thought on the cab. Like, let's talk about my version of it. Well, no, I want your opinion on that, too. Like, what do you think about the idea that men marry who's in front of them?
I need more information. Like,
so the idea...
Is it just, like, women, like, I'm ready for a mate, and then they, like, look to, like, their left, and there's a normal person, and they're like, woman, mate with me. And that's just that?
Well, so this is how I feel like I've seen it in real life. A guy in college is like dating this girl, and they've dated for like 3 years in college, and they're having a lot of fun, but he's really not ready to settle down. But she kind of is, and they're at a standstill, and he's like, you know what, I just kind of want to be by myself for a while. Then he goes, gets a good job, gets his money up, dates a little bit, gets his money up, sleeps around, does a bunch of other things, and it's like, he wakes up one day and like, I think I want a family. So then, even though he had great chemistry, he was good with that other girl, who probably could be a great wife for him, they dated for 3+ years, he goes out on Bumble, matches with a girl, they get along well. She's not a bad girl, there's nothing wrong with her. She just was in front of him when he was ready.
Well, I think it's problematic to say all men in any case. So
right.
I think
Alan would never, but go ahead.
I think there are men that deserve a lot of credit, and I don't think they're necessarily giving credit. I think there are plenty of men that are very discerning. I think they know what they need long term. I think there are plenty of men that are willing to make temporary sacrifices in order to receive that long-lasting freedom. I'm sure there are also men that don't think that far ahead, that are responding to their personal desires, whether it be a desire for sex or a desire for a family or a desire for a wife. Sure, why not? Sure, I'm sure it's possible. There are 4 billion men in this world. I'm sure there are men that are guilty of that.
And see, I agree, but I would say that would be the majority of men. I don't think there are plenty of men that are, who are discerning and who are truly looking at someone's heart. I think, as I was actually listening today, I don't want to say she's a very, she and her husband are very famous on Twitter on the right. And I was listening to her husband on this podcast talk about how they met. And it is very indicative to how I think a lot, especially, I
know who you're talking about.
You probably, is their naming with an I?
No.
Ooh, let's talk about who you're talking about later, off camera. So they were talking about how they met, and I want to add, this is not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying this is just like how it is. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm very happy for people to be married, and I do believe in redemption, and I believe in grace and forgiveness. I'm going to start off with that. But this man, Christian, from what he was expressing about where he was with his walk, had a good relationship with Christ. Great man of God. I don't think I've ever heard this. He wanted to wait to have sex. He wanted to, you guys. Can you imagine the man wanting to wait? All of these things. He explained how when he met his now wife, she was a liberal. This is a famous right-wing guy who gets online and talks all this crazy stuff about liberals and about how terrible they are. But she was a liberal.
Gosh.
And she wasn't a Christian. I think he used the word she was a degenerate. He said that, not me.
Oh my.
He said all these things about her, right? Now, listen to this. Homegirl's beautiful. Not even trying to be like, no homo or whatever. She is gorgeous. And to me, it just shows that a guy will, instead of looking for a girl that matches the character that he wants, that matches
I see what you're saying.
The religion that he believes, he'd rather find the girl that's incredibly beautiful and try to change her. Now, once again, this girl now says she's a Christian, even though I'm very much against flirt to convert. But I actually have a couple friends who were flirted to convert.
Yep.
And they do seem to be fine and Christian, and they have beautiful marriages. So I'm not against it. I'm sorry, Let me back up. I'm not saying if it works, I'm not against it. I do think it's dangerous because it does not always work. And then that's how you end up with someone who you get upset because they're not acting the way you want them to, but you were only looking at them for on the outside instead of what's on the inside. Anyway, that's just something I've noticed a lot in the right wing, that a lot of the men aren't really looking for people with good character. They're looking for people who look good, which is fine. I mean, men are visual creatures. They need to be with someone that looks good. But then at the same time, it kind of feels weird because then you're saying this, but then you're with this. But anyway, to me, that kind of is the same vein of like, you're saying that plenty of guys are looking for virtuous women, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure there are guys that are, but I wouldn't say, I personally wouldn't use the word plenty. I would say there are guys that are. So yeah. There's another reason why I brought that story up. Can't remember it, but I'm glad I shared it.
Yeah, you're just saying like, men say they want one thing, and then they look at the clock, they realize time is ticking, or they wake up with a desire to marry or whatever, or this woman in front of him is beautiful, and all that other stuff goes out the window.
Exactly. Yep, you knew what I was trying to say better than I did. Exactly.
No, I get that. I totally understand. And I think I think they deserve some credit because maybe they were being open to the Holy Spirit. Maybe they were.
Very true.
Maybe their initial, what they thought they wanted was different. I think it's very open. I honestly get so aggravated when people are like, well, this is my checklist of the perfect person, and if I don't have that, I'm never getting married. You see what I'm saying? That really bothers me, especially women. I think we have like this, like a dozen things that we want. And it's like, that's impossible. If you meet the right person and you have that connection with him, all of that stuff will go out the window. So I think they deserve a little bit of credit for possibly being open-minded. Maybe.
So, okay. I'm
just trying to make this a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, no, you're trying to defend men. That's okay. There always has to be somebody. No, I'm just joking. We do not hate men. She's obviously the one that's married, and I am not. So, couple things. You said, what did you say? Oh,
well, first I understood what you were saying, which is that a lot of times when we say we want someone holy, that just goes out the window because there's a hot person in front of us.
Yes.
That's not right.
And you also said the thing about the Holy Spirit. So I want to you're right. I need to give credit where credit's due. There are, another thing is I really do think that people can change their minds about things. And I do think that the Holy Spirit can guide and lead you. But I will say I personally don't believe in soulmates. So I don't think that it'll be like God leads you to this one person. I think that it can work out with whoever you pick. You both just have to make it work. And I think there are certain people who will be more fun. You know, if I were to marry a super country, bulldoze hillbilly guy, like that would not be fun for me. But it could still work. It could still work. But that might not be as much fun as it would be if I married a nerd, you know? Like, it really just...
Oh my gosh, I love that. You like nerds?
Yes. You didn't know that?
So cute.
That's actually my...
That. No, I did know that. But you've never put it that way.
Oh, okay. I would prefer a nerd over a jock over somebody country any day of the week. I prefer a nerd. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks. So basically,
anyway,
what's the consensus?
So the consensus, I guess the consensus is like, relationships are hard. Just be with who. No, I'm just joking. I guess the consensus is like, realistically, this does happen. But there are men who really are trying, and there are men who really do want good women. What I don't understand is why the quote, I don't know how to describe, I'm just going to use these terms like, but don't take these terms like too literally. I don't understand why like the good guys and the good girls don't seem to be meeting. It seems like a lot of quote unquote good guys are going after like super attractive girls, and then they're upset when, not all the time, but sometimes they don't turn out to be the way that they wanted them to be. And it seems like sometimes good girls are just kind of like twiddling their thumbs, not leaving their house. So just, you know, I don't know why they're not meeting and they're not connecting. I'm saying the apps don't work, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, dating's like really hard, and I wish I could encourage you in that, but I can't. I do. If
have a good night.
Yeah, I can't. So have a great night. Enjoy your singleness. Jesus is your boyfriend. All right, bye. I'm just joking. What? You've never heard people say that? Jesus is my boyfriend?
No.
Yeah, that's a very common thing to say. In evangelical circles. It's a very evangelical thing to say. Yeah, Jesus, I don't need a man. I have Jesus. Jesus is my boyfriend. Sometimes I go on dates with Jesus. You never heard people say that?
No. Okay. And I consider myself lucky.
Yeah, it's a very evangelical thing to say. Well, let us know how you guys feel about relationships. I do, as I'm like looking back at some of the things I said, I do feel like I was a little negative, but you know, sometimes we have those moments. I hope that you are all dating, and I hope you meet the man that God blesses you with. I hope that you have beautiful, lovely, fruitful marriage with children, and all of your dreams come true. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Radio Public, Amazon Music, Google Play, and wherever else we have this podcast up. I don't know what the question will be. I don't know. I know. Go ahead.
Did you guys like this laid back style, or do you like it when we're more like snappy, snappy, snappy?
Okay, and I'll make sure I put snappy. That'll be the yes or no question, because I want to make sure I say snappy. I want to make sure I say that.
Are you making fun of me right now?
No. I really liked how you said that. Like, genuinely, that was funny.
It's working at the Italian restaurant. Snappy.
Yeah. That's a good question. That will be the poll. No, that's a good one. That's a good poll. Okay. I don't know what else. We'll think of another like open-ended question later. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, night, evening, however, wherever you are. Bye.
Adios.